Hello folks, thanks for joining me in this first video of 2016. I decided that I was going to do a little something different. Um, in all the years, I basically started in 2003 on the internet as far as using the internet for research. And prior to that, of course, research was done a different way. Uh, Prior to the internet, we had books. You had to actually go to libraries and you had to find resources and sources to get literatures and books and stuff. There were certain organizations, underground Christian organizations and stuff that I used to actually get newsletters from back in the 90s. Um, and then, of course, you could listen to AM radio shows and people like Bill Cooper and stuff back then. That's in my first awakening days and actually uh, intelligence gathering days. That's all we had, you know. And then I became indisposed for a number of years. And by the time I lifted myself out of that, I it was 2003 ish when I decided, well, I'm gonna learn how to use this damn computer. So since then, I've acquired a lot of uh, resources. Now, understand if you're new to this channel, uh, welcome, and I hope you have a great 2016. And that goes to my viewers, of course. Um, my regular subs, thank you very much. And we don't do conspiracy theories here. Uh, I don't care about your Planet X's, your flat Earths, your Bigfoots, your whatever, your UFOs. UFOs are cool, but I have yet to see any real documentation. I don't like pictures of lights in the sky and all that shit. That's not you. That's crap. Okay, I don't play that. What you will find here, and since I started this channel, everything on here you find documentation, and some of these resources I've shared before, but some of those videos have been, were made 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're buried in the, unfindable uploads that are no longer on current uh, search lists and stuff. You would have to go through my old uploads, and who wants to browse through 473 videos, right? So I'm going to reshare some sources, and all sources I share will be indisputable, undeniable, usually straight from the horse's mouth. We're talking government-sponsored documentation, whether through the government agencies themselves or government contractors. So this will act as part one, and as I just gave the introduction to the series. I don't know how many of these I'll do. I'll try to make them mostly short and sweet and to the point, and share valuable information and important documentation that I do suggest you follow all links, which will be posted in the info box. And a lot of these are in PDF forms or forms that you can download yourself and archive yourself to your computers. And that way, if they ever disappear from the net, you will already have them. Some of these granted on subjects are a few years old as far as the reference material. That's a given, because I'm actually sharing stuff that I've accumulated over the last, this will be 2016, it'll be 13 years on the internet for me. Now, this link is a very important link, one of the most important links a person can have in their itinerary. Public intelligence. The graphics will change here from time to time. The only thing I noticed about this refugee photo, and I've noticed in other cases, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but their clothes are always very clean and very new. And whether these are from donations and stuff is very possible. I'm not going to go any further into that. I just find it a curiosity. You can browse other photos of refugees if you'd like. Nevertheless, this site provides, on a continual basis, actual documentation that comes from police departments, postings, interdepartmental postings, nationwide Homeland Security bulletins, reports from everybody from the Department of Justice to the Department of Defense to the Pentagon to Homeland Security to FEMA to you name it. Either way, every one of these documents that you find in here, and we'll read through a few. This one, first one here, Madison, Wisconsin. This is a Wisconsin posting, and it'll come from different places, different sources. This is, like I said, this is a must-have, folks. If you want to keep track of what is going on in actual practice, then you need these links I'm going to be sharing in these nodes. And I'm going to call them nodes. This is node 1, and this is node 1 will be called weather control. It'll share a little bit more than that, but it's the basic outline. And this is outline outside of that outline, actually, and I'm starting with it. I know it's funny, but this is one of the most important things you need to keep up with the powers that be and what they're doing. So, Madison, Wisconsin Police Department Guide on using IP Box iPhone Unlock Tool. A guide produced by the Madison Police Department documenting the use of IP Box, a tool that can unlock iPhones and other iOS devices that have been secured using a simple 4-digit passcode. So this is their hacking tool. This is the bulletin that they came out with regarding their hacking tool. You can read more. It'll take you to the document. Most likely on most of these documents, you can actually download these documents. So if you're interested in how they can get into your locked phones and tablets and information, this is the tool they're using. Now, National Counterterrorism Center has a post out for the NCTC Terrorist Identities Data Mart Environment, TIDE. They love their acronyms. It's ridiculous, but you'll get used to that. Watch listing overview. A National Counterterrorism Center presentation from January 2014 on watch listing individuals in the Terrorist Identities Data Mart environment. Okay? Do you think this is important? Maybe that football game you was watching is more important than this, huh? I'm just fucking with you. Messing with you. Excuse my French. Oh, it's terrible me. Okay, sorry. Let's keep this professional, right? Alright. Heck with it. It's Sunday. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, National Counterterrorism Center. Got another one. FUO. F-O-U-W-O, whatever. There's no W there. Anyway, in bulletin, community-oriented policing offers framework for radicalization. The community-oriented policing, COP, that's C-O-P again, like I said, they love their acronyms. A paradigm provides an existing framework for collaborative grassroots engagement that has the potential for success in counter-radicalization outreach efforts. COP leverages already established community-based social service programs to address individual, group, and community radicalization factors. leverages. Understand the language that these people use too, because you're gonna, if you read these documents, you're gonna run into a lot of it. They're like legal documents, and although they don't use a lot of the legal lees or they do use some, but that you would find in law, they still use the same language, which is a very you have to read it and understand what they're actually saying. FDNY presentation on San Bernardino terror attack. This is one that struck me. This is December 30th, 2015. California, New York. A presentation from the Fire Department City of New York Center for Terrorism and Disaster Preparedness regarding the December 2015 terror attack in San Bernardino, California. Really? Okay. Yeah, I could go all over the place with that, but I'm going to try to keep this on point. U.S. Army Expeditionary Warrior Experiments, AEWE, Systems Book 2016. You're going to want this. You're going to want this, people. I'm not here playing around. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to give you the goods. You think you're playing? I'm the ultimate player. I've been doing this a very, very long time. I don't play with theories. I don't play with games. 2016 edition of the U.S. Army Expeditionary Warriors Experiments Systems books describing current technology development programs. You're going to want to read it. United Kingdom Post, UK Ministry of Defence Future Operating Environment 2035. You don't think these people plan? Plan ahead? Don't think they got some conspiracy going and it ain't no effing theory? You're darn right. I know you know. Everybody knows. The Future Operating Environment 2035, FOE 35, forms part of the Development Concepts and Doctrine Center's Strategic Trends Program. DCDC is the MOD's independent think tank, and as such, FO 35 does not represent the official position of Her Majesty's government. It supersedes the 2010 Future Character of Conflict and aims to describe the characteristics of the 2035 operating environment to provide evidence-based insights that can inform future defense capability development. FO 35 describes the potential characteristics of the future operating environment and is designed primarily to inform UK defense and security policymakers and our armed forces more broadly. However, it is intended to have applicability across UK government and agencies to help inform their understanding of the future operating environment in which we all, military, other UK and government departments, international organizations, and agencies, may find ourselves operating in 2035. State Department presentation of ISIL Antiquities Trafficking. September 2015 presentation of the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Economic and Business Affairs on ISIL's Antiquities Trafficking as a funding source. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, reference aid on illicit uses of drones and model aircraft. Model aircraft are custom-built or commercially produced unmanned aircraft systems that meet the statutory definition of model aircraft and operate in accordance with the statutory requirements for model aircraft. Now, model aircraft people have been around for a long time. When I was a youngster, I had some cousins, distant cousins. You know, they were like third or fourth cousins, whatever. But for some reason, Grandma, we'd go up there on our way to the mountains in Colorado, because we had a cabin up in Colorado, and stop in Goodland, Kansas to visit our cousins, and they were into these big model remote control model airplanes, and they had some that were huge. They would take up half your living room sitting there. You know what I mean? So these things have been around for a long time. The drone things are not much different. It's just created a different environment and different excuses because of the way the new maneuverability and technologies have allowed drones to be used. Again, I don't want to get on a long tangent here. I just thought I'd share that because people seem to forget that. They act like this model airplanes are a new thing. Model, flying remote control stuff. It's not. A presentation from the Fire Department City of New York Center for Terrorism. Again, here's on the Paris attack. So apparently, probably after 9/11, they set up that foundation to address all these terrorist things from that New York center there. FBI, Bureau of Investigation Cyber Bulletin, Chinese hackers targeting U.S. Navy contractors. And this just goes on and on and on. Okay? You have to, okay, and even if you, how do I put this? Understand on some of these sites, like here in a little bit I'm going to give you a NASA site. Yes. Okay? Certain, but the people involved, they believe the lies. Okay? So when they're talking about certain things, or mentioning certain things in their dynamics, since the lies of everything are like weaved like a tapestry throughout our reality and truth. And so many of these people, many of the NASA scientists and stuff, they are totally bamboozled, man. They believe in what they're doing. They totally believe that what they're doing is real. Yes, they do. This is how compartmentalization works. So, you have to overlook some things that you may know to be falsehoods or to be lies or to be propagandas or whatever, that these people will feed their own people. Okay, some of these reports, because these are reports to their own agencies and their own people, and they need to keep the programming to their own people going as well, to keep up the morale and the sense of purpose that they have created for them to follow. Okay? So understand the complexity of the game when you're delving into real, true documentations, articles, studies, presentations, right? All this stuff. Now over here you have a series of links as well that you can follow to almost everything and anything you would want to, right? Countries, different countries, banks, community nations, Bilderberg stuff. I mean, it's just Israeli forces, her kingdom, all the you just wouldn't believe the resources. So there, that will be included. Now let's move on. I'm sorry, this is actually going to take longer than I thought it would, but I do want to. This is very important information to cover and to be reminded of, and for everybody to archive that is capable of archiving. Now this is called HAMP, and again, a lot of my regular viewers, or even some of you other researchers, may have some of this information you may already know. Some of it you may not. Some of it just serves as a reminder, because there is so much. I have gone through so much more information in my years of research, especially me, because I basically have the time, and for many years I would spend 16 hours a day researching different stuff. And I mean, literally, for day, that's all I did, all day, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Okay? And I can literally say I have forgotten more information than most people ever frickin' learn. I can seriously and truly say that. Because it's just too much to contain. And so that's why we have, our written forms, our videos, our recordings, etc. So this is a very important documentation. Again, it is about using aerosols, hurricane aerosol, that's what HAMP stands for, Hurricane Aerosol and Microphysics Program, HAMP. improving hurricane forecasts by evaluating the effects of aerosols on hurricane intensity. This is the final report given in 2010. This is just this version. I'm sure there's updated versions since then. You could probably search them out. This is just what I had in my archives. Okay. This report presents the research and analysis conducted under contract number blah 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 blah. The findings presented in this final report do not necessarily reflect the official DHS opinion or policy. Okay, and this is to the Department of Homeland Security, Science and Technology. And granted, see these type of studies and these they hire these consultants. This is consulting. These think tanks, these groups of people. This was done by Woodley Weather Consultants, Colorado. Dr. William L. Woodley, president. He has probably some, and then he gets a bunch of his little colleagues and buddies to get on board, and everybody gets paid for this. They get paid from your tax dollars. And I know this business very well because I've worked with companies that have government contracts and other. It works the same with corporations as well. In fact, some of my main work today, to this day, I still work for one of the companies when they need me, or when I choose to, and it is a consulting company and do surveys and stuff, and you get paid very handsomely for just basically data collection and analyzing. And then, like in our business, so because I deal with general contractors and powerhouses and power systems, boilers, stuff like that, we make recommendations of for systems improvements to improve the efficiency of steam systems and other stuff. So I know this business point. Sorry. I got off there for a minute, but I just point is I know this business very well. These people make great money off of this, and especially through government contracts, tons of your tax dollars go to this type of stuff. So we go on, and you can read these executive summaries. You can just read aerosols, cold pools, hurricane intensity modulation, satellite observations of pollution aerosols suppressing warm rain and invigorating spiral cloud bands in tropical cyclones. This just goes on and on and on into detail, and it is huge. It is a PDF. You can download it. Aqua aerosol, jeez, it is incredible. And anybody, this is why for years, these people come on the internet and you're talking about weather modification and stuff, and they're like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a freaking tinfoil hat, mother. No, you're an idiot if you're out here by this point saying anything like that, or you're a paid shill, period. If you don't want to take the time to find the evidence that is out here in front of your face, then you're not worth the time of even responding to or giving the time of day. You're part of the problem. And I know when I say you're, probably not anybody who's listening to this unless you're a paid shill to come here, because if you're here, you're obviously searching out information, or you wouldn't be here, right? Okay. And you can go on, after you download this, you can go here, and there's much more. You have recorded presentations that they gave on these subjects. This is the 29th Conference on Hurricanes and Tropical Meteorology. I want you to pay attention to the meteorological emblem 1919 when you come to this page, the American Meteorological Society, and notice the outside of what everything it covers: engineering, industry, commerce, aerial and marine navigation, public health, and what else does it say? It's kind of covered up by the writing, but either way, people don't understand about these entities that we've set up that control and run everything, and they're like, oh no, these people got it covered, man. So anyway, the hurricane aerosol microphysics program, the Woodley, that's this first one. That's probably the one we were just on, I believe. There's a recorded presentation. There's PDFs. There's other recorded presentations of the different presentations that went on throughout that conference. Okay, and you can actually go here, you can click on, and you can download and check out each and every one of these things. These are the real people talking about what they're doing in your skies. And anybody else who is a chemtrail denier or a weather modification, weather control, and this is old stuff. You would not believe what has been done since then. This is archive stuff. Okay, this weather is a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025. Another research paper presented to the Air Force, and this is by a bunch of different, again, a group of people that know how to use the system. And August 1996, they made this plan for 2025 to control the weather. 2025 is a study designed to comply with the directive from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force to examine the concepts, capabilities, and technologies the United States will require to remain the dominant air and space force in the future. Presented on 17th June 1996, this report was produced in the Department of Defense School Environment of Academic Freedom and in the interest of advancing concepts related to the national defense. The views expressed in this report are those of the authors and do not reflect the official policy or position of the United States Air Force Department of Defense or the United States government. This report contains fictional representations of future situations and scenarios. Any similarities to real people or events other than those specifically cited are unintentional and are for purposes of illustration only. This publication has been reviewed by security and policy review authorities, is unclassified, and is cleared for public release. And so we are releasing it. Da, 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 da. Now, this has been released. A lot of you have probably already seen this, actually. But just as a reminder, or in case you didn't get a chance to download it when you saw it the first time, see this little button up here? Click, click, save. Yes. I feel good. And here you go. Here's a whole bunch more. This is Welcome to the Air Force 2025. I'm sorry, I'm in a goofy mood today. I've been looking at this stuff all morning to put this together and think about what I was going to do for 2016. And I know a lot of people may think, and maybe it's some type of way that I psychologically deal with everything that I know and have for years, but I find it humorous. Okay, I use humor, and I find these people very amusing. Like the Lord, Father Lord, laughing at their derision, because you would not believe the complexity and the resources that go in to some of this stuff, let alone the money, the cash, the currency, which is the energy, oh my gosh. If people knew what they were doing, they would drop everything they're doing immediately. They would just freaking stop, turn around, and go the other direction. What a waste. Nevertheless, let me continue on. So here you can find all this stuff. I mean, I'm not going to get this drawn out. Here it is. Check it out. Okay, so this I do want to read a little bit into. This is 8/5/2010. This is related, as you saw back in the session of the of that where it mentioned the NASA links. I think it was this. Where was it? Where was it? This one. Yeah, NASA's fully involved in this stuff. And here's an article that came out on 2000 in way back 2000. We're talking 6 years ago. You know, can you imagine what they've done since these studies, since these things? Um, this is simply putting out proof uh, and showing that the proof's been there. You know, this is not secret stuff, and it is definitely far from a conspiracy theory or what other ever uh, dismissive type of label somebody wants to really say. You know, in less than 2 weeks, NASA scientists will begin their quest for the holy grail of hurricane research. The exact the exact conditions. I mean, can you not help but laugh? You're either gonna laugh or you're gonna get pissed off as hell. Because then, you know, soon the laughter turns into anger, or the anger turns into laughter. It just depends on how you want to handle it. I guess that's a day-to-day thing, isn't it? Most of us know that. The exact conditions required to kickstart a tropical depression. Okay, are you catching this? To kickstart a tropical depression into a hurricane largely remain a mystery. Do they? When was Katrina? Yeah. So anyway, hurricane formation intensification is really the holy grail of this field, said Ed Zipser, an atmospheric scientist at the University of Utah and one of the 3 program scientists helping to lead the genesis and rapid intensification processes GRIP experiment this summer. With GRIP, NASA's first domestic hurricane project since 2001, the agency has assembled the largest ever hurricane research experiment to investigate these questions. 3 NASA planes, multiple NASA satellites, and 4 planes from the research partners NOAA and NSF will combine to make unprecedented measurements of tropical storms as they are forming or dying out and intensifying or weakening. This intense scientific focus on these meteorological processes could provide new insight into the fundamental physics of hurricanes and ultimately improve our ability to forecast the strength of a storm at landfall. Okay, you see, they're doing all this, they're using your money to doing all this under the guise of being able to better forecast storms. Yet, as you see, and you will see soon with the next giveaway paragraph, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with creating the storms. Forecasting a storm is, you can't forecast a storm that you created in the first place. I mean, you can, of course you can, because you created it. You see, but that doesn't help you in actual forecasting of natural events at all. So predictions of hurricane strength continue to lag behind the accuracy of storm track predictions. Storm track predictions are simply computer-generated models. If you watch the Weather Channel, and you watch it as much as long as I have, you understand that everything on there, there's nothing there that is real. Everything they're showing you is a computer-generated model, and they will tell you that as they're showing it to you. But accurate predictions of both are needed for the best possible preparation before landfall. With each aircraft, and here's the killer, okay? Or maybe this isn't it. With each aircraft outfitted with multiple scientists will be taking a closer look, gain insight in physical processes, large environmental factors. Okay, it goes on with the global flock. Let me find the tells you what different kind of planes they are, bragging about all their good equipment that they spent your money on, and one of the potential data, blah 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 blah, right here. What makes this really unique is the ability to observe one of these storms as it changes over its lifestyle. Before, we've been able to only get a few hours at a time. We want to see storms that become hurricanes, and we want to see some that don't become hurricanes so we can compare the data. Same is true for hurricane intensification. When you think of analyzing it later, we want to break down what the temperatures were, what the winds were doing, what the aerosol concentration was, to see if we can start detecting a pattern, Vasquez said. Okay? Now, right there, aerosol concentrations. Back to the HAMP report, right? Back to the HAMP report. Aerosol concentrations, and then you think to yourself, that guy knows. That guy knows. All the people who wrote this article know. All the people flying these planes know. All the people involved in this. All the meteorologists on your Weather Channel know. They know about the spraying in the sky. Excuse a small break while I light up my cigar and let you think about that for a minute. Occupational Safety and Health Guideline for Carbon Black, potential human carcinogen. Come and get it, read it, check it out. And as a sending off, granted, like I said earlier, you need to know what these people are doing though. Here's a good link, the Royal Society. This will take you straight to the public events page. Of course, you can go check out all kinds of grants, schemes, and awards. Schemes. Home, fellows, topics and policies, journals, collections, etc. Check it out. You want to know what's going on in their science world, even if you don't believe in it. If you're a flat earther, you don't believe there's a globe earth or whatever, you still have to understand what they're propagating. Okay? You still have to take all the information in consideration. Not all of it is completely false information. And here's another page full of links. Full of links. Just check it all out. Again, much of it, many of you might know. Some of it, many of you might not know. It's always good just to have links and things to check out. Resources. They fear those with knowledge and control those without it. So, 2016, let's make this a great year for winning that information war, right? Is that what they call it, the info war? Well, let's win the real info war. And start by sharing real information. And do away with those things that we cannot prove. It doesn't matter what you want to believe. You can believe whatever you want. What really matters is what they believe. And with that, I will leave all the links, all them links, in the box. And I thank you for joining me.